Today we're talking about the DNA of an entrepreneur. Let's get straight into it. Mr. Windrose, good morning, and thank you so much for making time.
Thank you so much, V. Candy. I'm so delighted to be in this wonderful show.
Wonderful. So it is a continuation from a conversation that we started that, you don't just wake up an entrepreneur as well. There are things, there are systems, there are structures. There is something, that also has to set you apart from any other person. Yeah?
True, V. Candy. We touched on those key traits that distinguish successful entrepreneurs from the rest. And today we want to zero in on one key trait that distinguishes successful entrepreneurs, which is that they are decisive and action-oriented. Successful entrepreneurs are decisive and action-oriented. Entrepreneurship, V. Candy, is like swimming. You can read all the books on how to do it. Unless you jump in water, it's just theory. You can gain vast knowledge through study about swimming. But if we throw you in water, you will sink. Entrepreneurship is not something that you just learn. You learn doing it. The aspect of doing it. It's not theoretical, but it's practical. We can take somebody with a master's degree in business management. Tumuti atengese madomasi anogona kunyura wokundwa na gogo vasina kubvira vambopinda musuwo rechikoro. So entrepreneurship is about doing it. So one trait that separates successful entrepreneurs is that they don't just talk about their ideas, they don't just talk about their intention, their goals. They go down to implement those ideas that they have. While non-successful people, they are just talkers. They just spend time fantasizing on their dreams, on who they want to become, but without taking a proper action about their ideas. So if you're going to be a successful entrepreneur, you must be a person who is action-oriented. There's this powerful statement that was uttered by the late Dr. Miles Monroe. He said that the wealthiest place in the world is not the gold mines of South America or the oil fields of Iraq and Iran. It is not the diamond mines of South Africa or the world's banks, but it is the cemetery. Because kumakuwa ku weekend, they lie buried people with companies that were never started, inventions that were never made, best-selling books that were never written, masterpieces that were never painted, songs that were never sung. People died with all those things because they were just procrastinating. So nyaya procrastination nekuverengera vhirikendi ndoichaita kuti vanhu vafe vasina chavanacho, vasina bvera vambobudirira mune zvavanoita because vanenge vachingoverengera. Kumakuva uku kune mamilioneya nemabhilioneya akaenda ikoko, vanga vane pfungwa hombe dzemabhizinisi but vasina kubvira vambozviita nekuti vaiverengera vanga vasingaiti. Saka chinoseparata vanhu vari successful in the field of business neavo vanokundikana inyaya yekuita zvavanenge vafunga. Havarare vane maidea vanenge vachifunga vachifantasize nezvavo. Most people weekend, they overthink, they overcalculate. They want to reach a place where they reach perfection, but vasinga implement, vasingatangi kuita zvanofanira kuita. So
you don't have to finesse everything. It doesn't have to be perfect before you start. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. You don't have to reach 100% perfection in order for you to start. Successful entrepreneurs weekend, they are people who fail fast. When I say that they fail fast, is that they learn from their mistakes, then they quickly self-correct and try to do it better than you trying to spend so many years trying to perfect something without starting. If you see anything today that is so perfect, that thing did not begin while it was perfect. It was perfected along the way. So but nyaya yekuda kumirira kuti zvitange zvanhingirikina. Saka tikuti vanhu ngavaregedze kuda kuverengera nekuti unogona kusvika pakufa. Nekuti kuti kumakuva ndo nzvimbo ine yakapfumisisa kudarika nzvimbo dzese, nekuti kwakaenda vanhu vakawanda vanga vane maideas emabusiness makuru, maproducts akawanda vakafanirawo vasina bvera vambaita because vaiverengera. So we must not procrastinate, but we must make sure that we do what we are supposed to do as entrepreneurs in order for us to make it. Most people weekend they are affected by a condition that I say the perfect condition syndrome. Most people weekend they waste time by waiting for perfect conditions and times to prevail before they act. They are affected by this disease that I call the perfect condition syndrome. It's a disease that kills the faith and hope, causing many to lay aside their dreams and their aspirations, waiting for perfect times and conditions to prevail before they act. You hear people weekend saying, I'm waiting for the exchange rate to go down. I'm waiting for the inflation to my price atanga adzika. People they are always waiting for their health to be in perfect state for them to start. I was laughing recently weekend. Munhu achitaura kuti hanzi ndakamirira Sadak Troika zvabuda musarudzo Sadak Troika kuti nditange my chicken project business. Kumirira. There are people of weekend who wait for a new government to be in power for them to kickstart their entrepreneurial dreams. But an entrepreneur is not a person who waits for anything. In actual fact, weekend, an entrepreneur is a person who starts with what they have. They don't wait for what they don't have in order to start. An entrepreneur is a person who pursues an opportunity with limited resources. You don't have for everything to fall in place in order for you to start. So ukaona vanhu vese vakatanga vakaita zvinhu zvikuru weekend akatanga nezvaakanga anazvo zvimwe zvese zvakazoteera, but isusu toda kumirira the perfect condition syndrome. Munhu ada kutanga amirira kuti ndoda kutanga ndamirira kuti kana ndasvika age yakati. There is no perfect age, place, time and conditions that guarantee success in life. All that you have to do is just start. Hakuna nzvimbo yekuti zvimwe kudanda kaenda kuSouth Africa ndichabudirira. Ukatadza kubudirira uri muno kuSouth Africa yako unonokudikana.
Alright.
Hakuna time weekend guarantee success in life.
So there's never like a perfect time, a conducive environment.
Yes, there's no conducive age, conducive place. There is no conducive time. There are no circumstances that guarantee success. So vanhu vese vatinona vakabudirira vanhu vakangoita zvakadaro. You see, so action ndo one of the key element that separates successful entrepreneurs. I want to say that weekend you are more likely to act yourself into feeling. You are more likely to act yourself into feeling than to feel yourself into action. You are more likely to act yourself into feeling than to feel yourself into action. Most people weekend they wait for them to feel good in order for them to act.
So it's not about feelings. There's no feelings in God.
No. You don't have to feel good in order for you to act. Successful people, what they do weekend, they act. Whilst they have acted upon their ideas, their dreams, they get the inspiration that gives them the motivation to act more. So they start by acting. They make progress in order for them to feel happy. You have to make progress in order for you to feel happy. But then you sitting on your couch waiting for a good mood for you to feel good in order for you to act. So successful people, they just tell themselves, I have to do this. They just act. So it is of paramount importance that we just act. We don't have to wait for us to feel good, but we just have to act.
Anzi, what if there's no capital? How do you start? It's a question here on our WhatsApp platform.
Okay, I want to answer that question, Weekend. It's a question that no garaichuya. I want to say, Weekend, the greatest capital, God is a creative genius. The greatest capital, every person is born and comes out of his or her mother's womb with capital. And the greatest capital is that capital that is between your 2 ears, Weekend. The mind. The strength, physical energy, the strength capital. Gifts and talents that you are endowed, that you came out from your mother's womb, that's capital. Hakuna munhu weekend ari kufamba muZimbabwe ari kufema nhasi asina capital. Because Mwari akatotendera kuti munhu wese achibarwa anobarwa ane capital. but vanhu vazhinji tiri kutsvaga external capital. Okay, I talk about intrinsic capital, which is God given, iri matiri yatinoya tinayo. Then there is extrinsic capital. Iri kubvunzwa nevanhu veVeekend, it's extrinsic capital, resources, money and so forth. But I want to say, Weekend, if you have not harnessed and discovered, your intrinsic capital, if you receive the extrinsic capital, it will be wasted.
All right.
Weekend kana musoro musina chunu ukapa munhu 10,000 iye inonyura. So capital yekutanga inofana munhu yaanofana kutanga araiser maari anditika I capital from within. Muchipo chako uri chipo iwewe. Weekend ukageza motikari unopiwa $5 I capital hiyo. So there is one thing kanitaura pamusoro penyaya capital. You don't need capital to start. Capital for an entrepreneur is just a growth factor.
So I got a message saying, and I started my photography business. Ndakatokumbira kamera yeshamwari yangu. Right now I have my basic equipment and I'm not stopping. There is no need for capital.
Exactly, Weekend. An entrepreneur is a person, Weekend, who has to do what he has to do in order to do what he wants to do. Pane zvinhu zvaunofana kutanga waita Weekend kuti uzosvika pane chinhu chauda kutanga wasvika. Saka unogona kutangira pasi uchiita zvimwe zvinhu zvisiri izvo anditika zvaunoda, but zvinokubatsira kuti usvike pane zvinhu zvaunoda iwewe kuti uzosvika pazviri. Saka simba rako raunaro izvezvi mvura yakunayo unogona kutangisa simba rako kurima, anditika labor, pfungwa dzako chaidzo anditika tine capital iri matiri. Then capital ndiyo inozo attract extrinsic capital. Munhu asati ahanesa intrinsic capital, it is so difficult for that person Weekend to attract extrinsic capital yakafanana nezvimwe zvinhu zvaunozoda kunzoko. But vanhu vakazviona kuti mauri iwewe you have discovered something chiri essential, zvinobva zvaita nyore for you kuti utangire ipapo. Saka tiri kuti isusu capital for an entrepreneur is that's a growth factor. From 0 to 1 Weekend you don't need capital.
Hence I started my restaurant with one rice.
Exactly. One rice,
like literally. One grain.
Maybe I like feed also. Okay, but basically, andika Weekend. So tukuti isusuzo andika Weekend. Action is so key in bringing ideas to life. Without action, your ideas remains just an idea. It just remains a dream. That's why many people are just broke. They've got good ideas, but the action is the missing part. Because action brings commercial value to ideas. Without action, your idea will never grow bigger than the brain cell that it occupied. So we must be men and women who act upon our ideas. We have to wake upon our ideas. Vivian, I want to say that you don't need to have a bullet or a magical idea in order for you to be successful. But all that you need is to act on your idea. I want to say, Weekend, that an average idea coupled with great execution produces great results compared to a brilliant idea with poor execution.
I see now.
Average minds have great ideas, but legends have got great execution.
That's the difference. Execution.
It comes down Weekend to execution. We're not going to a bullet magical idea. But if you don't act, or if you poorly work on that idea, your results will be poor. But a person, Weekend, I will tell you, the people who have made it in this world, they are not people with brilliant ideas. But there are people who had just average ideas, but they were great executors. There were people who acted upon their ideas. Kuna one Weekend is running by just say out idea ndakamboifunga. But nini ndakatoifunga zviri nani kudarika zvairi kuita. But hakuna kana sent. But uya ane mari uyo ndiye munhu ari kuita act upon the ideas. So we really have to act upon our ideas, because my ideas anotanga kutora more value Weekend when we act upon them. Dreams that are not backed by action do not amount to anything. They don't amount to anything at all. saka vanhu vanoita mari weekend, vanhu vachabudirira in the realm of business, vanhu vekuti vakatongofunga weekend kuti ndira kuita chunhu, haaramba achiverengera, anobva atongochita. Action is the key that distinguishes successful entrepreneurs. Show me any weekend successful entrepreneur, not uyu. I will tell you a man or a woman who is action oriented, a person who doesn't procrastinate, a person who doesn't overthink. Problem maybe at night weekend we overthink sometimes.
Just do it. Overcalculating. Thank you so much, Windrose Chifarimba. Looking forward to this conversation again next week as you empower us. For those who want to reach you, your contact details and any events that are coming up.
Thank you so much, Vic Henry. To those that who wants business mentorship and training, we have got an organization called the Entrepreneurs Ignite Hub. You can get in touch with us on 0772 767693. 0772 767693.